So here we are looking at the Jones Flagship. Left the bindings on because I've been riding it, but it's just one of those boards. It's just a great free ride board. It's aggressive, but there aren't huge consequences with its aggressive nature, which is just outstanding. You know, it's exactly what you want in a free ride board. You want something that's fast. You want something that can just bust through chunder. You want something that can carve. You want something that can turn quickly through trees. You want something that floats amazingly well in powder. You know, and that's what the Jones does. As you can see, there's a decent amount of camber, even with the bindings on, providing a little extra weight. But if we lift this board up, there's definitely a decent amount of camber from like the front binding to about here, and then rocker, and then as you can see from the tip and tail, a lot of rocker up into a nice shovel nose that really planes over powder well. You know, it's like I'm almost liking this as much or better, and it's in different, you know, in its own way, as much or more than the hovercraft. It's definitely a little bit more into the snow, but it still has that just great easy float. I'm riding the 161. I've ridden the 164. I've owned the 164, and I really like the 164, but I think I like the 161 better. It's just a little quicker, easier turning. Paired up with the diode, actually, real nice combination, because the diodes have a lot of shock absorption, and one of the criticisms of this board is it can get a little cranky kind of mid to the end of the day when you're kind of riding around through like lots of tracked up, like kind of uneven snow on groomers, where it's just kind of going like that, you know, on a crowded Saturday or just an afternoon where just, you know, it's just been, the snow's soft, so everybody's kind of really changed the way of the snow. You know, first thing in the morning, there's just not many boards that are better than this. However, in the afternoon, it gets a little cranky. They've done a lot of work since this board first came out to fix that, and it's definitely got a much easier feel. It's just not a nightmare anymore, but it's still a little on the hard side. So it's really good to pair this board up with, like, you know, bindings like the Burton diode, or bindings like now that have just that massive cushioning, and they're just ultra damp and just, you know, shock absorbent, because it really pairs well with this board for end of the day snow. This thing busts through, like, you know, tracked snow better than any board. You know, like you can be going so fast and fresh tracks, and then come through an area where everybody's traversed and just hammer through that without issues. That's not a problem with this board. This board gets more cranky when you're just like on a groomer that's just been beat down all day, and there's just all these little like chunks, and just the snow is just kind of like this, and you're just going ga through it. That's the problem for this board. But other than that, man, this thing carves. It turns really quick. You know, it's a fun board. I actually like this more on the trees than I do the hovercraft, just because the hovercraft turns really quick for its waist width, especially for me on a size 9 shoe. But for this, it just, you know, this is more kind of like into my spec zone for a size 9, and it just darts in and out of the trees. It has exceptional float, especially if you're set all the way back. You can get surfy. But it's also an exceptional groomer board, like morning groovers, just, you know, this nice little bit of camber going out, carving up morning groomers, picking up a lot of speed if it's real clean and nice. You know, I'm kind of not one who just likes to bomb on anything. I only like to really like point it when it, you know, the conditions are really good, and when it's really good, there aren't many boards that are as damp as this. And, you know, all in all, just, you know, the overall flex feel build of this board has just gotten better every year. And, you know, the Jones Flagship is just a very easily recommendable board. You know, yeah, you can get a little stiffer, a little more aggressive with the carbon Flagship. But me personally, you can see what I'm riding and I can get anything I want, and this is all I wanted. But I know some people want a board that's a little lighter, a little more aggressive, then you can go for the carbon Flagship, but this was all I needed.